This is an ultimate guide to the Korean Army. I will tell you about the ins and outs of the Korean Army based on my experiences and also based on others and also the law of South Korea. Starting off with the law, under the Constitution, all men and women hold a duty of defense. However, only men are responsible for actually serving in the military. Women are waived from the responsibility of going to the army, but they can choose to go if they wish to as officers. So starting off, how do you get into the army? Well, first, when you turn 19 and you're a South Korean citizen and a male, the government will summon you to a fitness test where they test you on mental and physical fitness. This is a very, very easy test. They don't even make you do push-ups or anything. It's just like testing whether or not you are healthy. They grade you from 1 to 7, 1 being the most fit, 7 being the least fit. From 1 to 4, you are eligible for active duty. 5, you are going to go to public services where you serve for offices or community centers or schools. 6 and 7, you are exempted from the military service. 90% of the people that actually take the test will get between 1 or a 4. So I got like a 2 because I had really bad eyesight. But basically anybody can get a pass. It's 90%. It's very, very easy. You would have to have some serious health conditions to not get a pass. At the end of the day of the test, you will get your grade. And if you get a 4 and above, you will basically be going for active duty. And now you have a couple of options on your hand. First of all, you can just wait. If you just wait, the government will eventually call you 30 days prior to your enlistment dates. You could get a letter someday, like showing up in your house, saying, oh, come to, say, by August 4th. You just have to show up by August 4th. You have really no choice. Unless you want to delay your service, which is possible through multiple means. The most popular way is to apply for different jobs or different branches so that you can perhaps get an easier job or a different job than you would just by waiting. If you just wait, you will most likely be an infantry in the army, and that is very tough and hard work. But you can apply for specialty jobs, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, and also if you are smart enough and if you have a really good degree with a very specialized major, you can instead work as a researcher, though that is for 3 years, for a research facility for the government. So yeah, you can apply for all these different things, but keep in mind that you need to pass a test most of the time in order to actually get into these branches and these different jobs. For example, I took a test as an army interpreter and passed it, so I was able to go to the army as an army interpreter, not an infantry. And there are also other ways you can delay your services, the most common being school. If you go to school, university, you can delay your services until 24. And then if you go to graduate school after that, you can go delay your services till 26 or 28, depending on which major you have. Now this is probably like the most common way of most Korean people to delay their services. I, for myself, even though I took the fitness test at age 19, I went to the military at age 22 because I was in school, so I was able to delay my services. And also this is a very popular way for celebrities to delay their services. They try to get degrees in graduate school so that they can push the date further and further until they've maxed it out. Another popular way of delaying your services is saying to the government that you are preparing for a national exam. For example, you're preparing for the police officer exam or the public servant exam or the bar, then they will let you delay your services. This is also another popular way for celebrities to delay their services, but to be honest, there is a negative opinion on that because honestly, like if you're a celebrity, you're not gonna suddenly become a public servant. Lastly, you could get exempt from military service altogether. Now this is extremely rare. The most known method is winning a medal in the Olympics or winning gold medal in the Asian Games. Now you'd have to be a super talented athlete to do that. And even then, even if you receive exemption, the public opinion on these sports stars receiving exemption because they won a medal or something, not as positive as it used to be. People are finding it unfair for most people, so I don't know how long that will last, but it is still there. Now, I saw a lot of comments on my previous video about the military saying like,
oh, wouldn't BTS get exemption if they won a Grammy or something? Should K-pop idols, because they're doing so much for the country, shouldn't they get exemption?
no. This is a duty for every single Korean civilian. Yes, BTS going to the army is not going to make the Korean army, super strong or whatever. But at the same time, it's a duty as a Korean citizen that you must abide by because you are part of this society. And I'm saying this because I saw a lot of people commenting like, oh, we should sign a petition to have them exempt from the army. That's never gonna happen. And I can bet my word that if it does happen, people will be freaking pissed. Now, how long do you have to serve in the military? A lot of people are also confused about this. It really depends on what kind of branch you serve. For example, if you're in the army or the conscripted police, you will serve for 21 months. If you're in the Navy or conscripted firefighters, you will be there for 23 months. Or if you're in the Navy or you're doing public service work, you will do that for 24 months. Now, I know there are a lot of talks about shortening the service, but we have been in talks decades now, and that is actually a very popular topic that politicians use to try to please their voters. It's nothing new. We've actually shortened it quite a bit from what our previous generations have served. There are talks right now of shortening it to 18 months. There were the exact same talks a decade ago. So I don't know how real that actual talk is, but I can assure you these things won't change very fast. And I also saw a lot of people in the comments saying, oh, because the climate of the Korean Peninsula between the north and the south are warming up. So does that mean military service will be shortened? Personally, I don't believe it will be because right now North Korea is still a threat. And even if we have a declaration of the end of war, it'll still be there. And the military isn't just about serving a war. The military is about deterring war. And obviously you're gonna need people in the military even after you have finished the war. So don't worry, conscription is not going away anytime soon. So once you have received your enlistment date, you just have to wait until the enlistment date and then you just arrive at the camp on that specified date. The moment you enter, you are no longer a civilian and you are a soldier, and you will be treated as such. You will be yelled at, you will be shouted at, scolded many times on things that you have no idea about. And basically, it's a very tough life. For 6 weeks, you are going through a lot of training. And the 6 weeks there, you are basically learning all the basic combat skills you need as a soldier. For example, shooting rifles, throwing grenades, and maneuvering through difficult terrain. And after those 6 weeks, depending on your job, you may get a couple of weeks of additional training. But if your job doesn't require such training, then you will be sent to your base. When you arrive in your base that you will be living in from your training camp, your experience will be vastly different from what you have experienced the previous 6 weeks, because you're all by yourself, you're at the bottom of the food chain, you don't know anybody, you're a private, and you don't have any of your buddies to go through it together. So it's a very lonely time at the start of your military service. What you do in the military service really depends on what kind of job you have and what kind of base, what kind of camp you are at. For example, if you're in the front lines where it snows a lot, you could be doing a lot of shoveling snow and also standing watch on the North Korean soldiers on the other side. It's very close. It's like 3 kilometers away, so you can see everything. If you got a non-combat job like me, I was an army interpreter. I basically did very little work. It was very easy for me, but I don't know. It really depends on what kind of job you have. It's a vastly different. However, regardless of whether you are in a combat or a non-combat base, there are many things that are shitty about the army. First of all, you do not have any freedom at all. For example, you don't have cell phones. You can't call somebody when you want to. You don't have the internet access when you on your computers, except for in certain locations where it's like a PC bang. Everybody's in there. That's the only room that you can use internet in. And also you're under the constant surveillance of your superiors or of your commanders. It's almost like 24 hours. You can't go anywhere without telling nobody. And lastly, and the most important thing is you can't get out. You're trapped in this base. If you're very lucky, like I was, you can get out once a month. for about 2 or 3 days. If you're very lucky, very lucky. Most people during the 2 years that they serve in the military, they will leave maybe 40 to 50 days if they're lucky. For the shorter leaves, like for the 2-day leaves, you are also not allowed to leave a certain area that is near your base. So basically you're trapped in this certain region, which is likely gonna be very rural area because most military camps are in rural places. Mine was in the middle of the rice fields in the middle of freaking nowhere, and there was no theaters, no nothing around. And another thing that's shitty about the army is you get paid like shit. You will get paid very little amounts of money. For example, me, I got paid about $100 to $150 per month. That was 3 years ago. Depending on your rank, it gets a little higher as you progress, but it was about $150 at the end of my service, just enough to pay for my train tickets to go home from where my base was, which was like 8 hours away from Seoul. So I would have to get allowance money to buy food when I was on vacation, on leave, and stuff like that. So it was pretty sad. Nowadays, it's gotten a lot better. It's about $300, $400 per month, depending on your rank. It's gotten a lot better, obviously, but that is still way below the minimum wage, which is about $1,500 per month if you work 40 hours a week. Not a great deal. And plus, you're not working just 8 hours a day. You're essentially working for 24 hours even, because you're literally living in work. And also you have to do night watch and lots of other things that is outside of your hours, like work on weekends and stuff like that. Manual labor, picking up rocks, that's an actual thing that you actually do in the army. Picking up rocks from a rock field. It sounds crazy, I know. So after you picked up rocks for 2 years and you made below minimum wage, after you have served your country, they will say bye-bye to you, and that's it. That's it. You go out and that's it. Except you will be in the reserves now, which is basically they will call you in case of war, and also you have to train once every year for about 6 years. You only train for a day per year if you're a student, but if you're like me who graduated college and don't go to school anymore, you will train for 3 days per year. After 6 years of that, you are exempt from training, but you will have 2 more years until you get out of the reserves, technically. So from the moment you go out to 8 years in time, you can technically still be called to serve for the country in case of a war. I'm in year 3 right now. Let's hope nothing happens in the next 5 years. I hope this video has answered all the questions in your mind about the military service in Korea. It sucks, and it's annoying that you have to give up 2 years of your youth to make no money and also just do something that's like completely detached from your entire career. But at the same time, I feel like it's a duty. A duty's a duty. Our country is at war right now with North Korea, and North Korea, people up there, they have a mandatory service of 10 plus years. I feel very lucky that it's less than 2 years now. We need to be ready, we need to be prepared, and we need to deter any possible threats. So if you guys enjoyed the video, tell us what you think. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, 충성!